Hello, everyone. You are most welcome to this week's community show, the show that is convened by Center for Constitutional Governance and Civic Space TV, and I'm your host, Martin. This show, we talk about issues that pertain communities, that pertain society as a whole. Many things have been shared on this space, many things or many topics have been tackled and talked about. But one issue that is rarely given mainstream attention is the issue of disability rights. Every year, international community of nations celebrates 3rd December as the International Day for Persons with Disability. And Uganda, of course, is party to all these international days that honor the plight, but also the progress of persons with disability. However, in this month and on this particular day, we wish to further highlight the concerns and issues of persons with disability in Uganda. Uganda has reported that around 12% to 13% of its population can be categorized as persons with disability. What does disability mean? Disability means substantial functional limitation of a person's daily life activities caused by physical, mental, or sensory impairment and environmental barriers resulting in limited participation in society on equal basis with others, and includes an impairment mentioned in the Person with Disability Act of 2020 Uganda. And some of these, and I'll spell to you some of the categories of disability that the government of Uganda has recognized. Physical disability caused by cerebral palsy, amputation of limb, paralysis, or deformity. Hearing disability, including deafness and hard of hearing disability. Visual disabilities, including blindness and low vision disability. Deaf and blind disability. Mental disability, including psychiatric disability and learning disability. Little people, albinism, multiple disability. Of course, in the general human rights arena, many people have campaigned against the use of the word disability to use the word impairment. Or actually, many people use the word differently abled as opposed to disability. However, as you have heard, the word disability in itself means people who have conditions that limit them from the usual participation in social and community affairs like other people who would fully participate. And today, we are furthering this discussion where we want to understand what it means to be a person living with disability in Uganda, to be a person in this space. We want to assess how much protection is there, how much government has done, and what can be done better. And to help me understand this conversation further and broaden it, I'm joined by disability rights campaigners and persons with disability on this show. I'll ask each one to introduce themselves, and then we shall begin. To our viewers, we are going to use both Luganda and English. I'll begin with you, Jen. Introduce yourself, and then Shaban, Myleen, and Ivan consequently. Ojja kweyanjula eri abawuliriza abaffe n'abalabi. Amannya go ne ky'okola. Introduce yourself, then we shall go to Shaban, Ivan, and Myleen.
Amanya Boola Shaban Kalanga nga nchikirira abantu abaliko obulemu ku Mbale City for person with disability nga emirimu zange ndi musajja nkola bu craft, musajja ayiiya ekintu nekinyumira abantu, nga nsala obugatto bw'abaana abato obw'abakulu n'ebirala, okutunga emipiira ng'ebyo z'emirimu zange. Yes, nga muŋŋambe nti kweyanjula ge mannya gange.
All right, thank you very much, Shaban. Over to you, Ivan. Please introduce yourself, what you do, and then we proceed.
Good afternoon, members. I'm so happy to meet you again, members. It has been a long time. And I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. My name is Sabiti Ivan Sande, the chairperson of Elgon Foundation for Persons Living with Albinism. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ivan, for that brief introduction. Yes, Myleen.
Good morning, gentlemen. Kyomuhendo Myleen. I'm the Vice Chairperson, Spinal Injuries Association, Uganda. I also work with Tunaweza Foundation. It's also an organization for people with disability, and I work there as a counselor. Yeah, happy to meet you and to discuss these important issues that affect us as people with disability. I am a person with disability. Due to an accident, I acquired a spinal injury, and I've been living with a disability for 20 years now. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Myleen. Yes, Jen. Okay. Now I will begin with you, Myleen. Please help us in your own context understand, in simple terms, what disability means.
Disability, in simple terms, is an ailment. I'll just say the characters that make up the term disability. You may be lacking an arm, a leg, or both. Maybe blind, or you're unable to hear or partially hear, or sometimes you have your skin color not normal like everyone else, but they call albinism. Then we have mental disability due to different aspects. Some due to injuries on the head, some born with those deformities. It's a lot of things that bring out disability. That's why we can't say that someone is disabled. No, they are not. They are disabled when the environment is unfriendly, when it's not being convenient for them. So we call ourselves people with disability. I am not disabled because I can do so much. So it's just the environment that disables me, because there's a missing part of my body to function normally. So the environment disables me and I become a person with disability, but not a disabled person.
Yes, thank you for helping us understand that context for sure, and giving us the distinction, because oftentimes it's not very clear for many people. I want to now proceed to you, Ivan. They have given us the definition of persons, of disability. Please help us understand the rights, that are specifically important to persons with disability. Myleen has said that a person, this, of course, being living with disability means that there is something that is preventing you from living your life fully, or trying to enjoy and benefit or perform activities usually, okay? But then she also said there is a difference between disability and being disabled, okay? And she said it's the environment that makes people disabled. So in your context and in your view, what are some of those things that, one, make people disabled, but also two, what are the things that can improve the lives of people with disability, mainly relating to their rights, to the rights of people with disability?
Thank you so much. I just want to first thank the other madam for that good definition which she has made. Actually, before I speak anything, we people with disabilities in Uganda, there is one thing which I discovered. We are the helpless minority in this country, and sometimes that's why we swallow the pain in silence. Number one, we deserve equal love to both the environment or to the community and our parents. We deserve equal care, and we also deserve recognition, whereby some people doesn't recognize us as also humans. I have an experience why I speak this. Number one, I have been collecting a database in Soronko district for youth with disability. But when we reach at a home where a person with disability is there, and you ask a parent, how many children do you have? Actually, the actual number might be 7, but the parent will tell you, I have 6 children and one disabled one. Meaning, they have not counted him or her because he's a person with a disability. What does that mean? You have 7 children. You tell me, I've asked you a question, how many children do you have? You tell me you have 6 children and a disabled one. That means they don't recognize us, they don't value us, which is very, 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 very bad. And I, the one speaking, I was brought up with a single parent, that is my mom. And when I grew up, my mom narrated a story to me, actually, which made me sometimes lose what we call self-esteem. My mom told me that I was denied by my father when I was only 2 days old. After my mom giving birth, the first day, the second day, the information reached to that man that your girlfriend has delivered such and such and such a child, whereby the man totally denied, said, in their clan, they have never had a person who looks like me. And he denied me totally that he doesn't produce me, whereby my mom lacked anywhere to fix me or to take me because he was the only man my mom was having. So that challenge, it has really, really, really affected my life. You know, we men, we are, whereby you can also begin from there when you grow up. But it has really given me a lot of headache, whereby I have to struggle, I get my own plot, I have to struggle, and I do everything as me. But there is some things which people doesn't know. We people with disability, in fact, we didn't make a choice to God that maybe let us be created like this. It just came and we just found ourselves in this fraternity. That's why we people with a disability, we need equal love, equal care, and recognition. And we are going to talk at the rights. We also need our rights as people with disability.
Thank you very
We
much,
need a
Ivan.
right to medication.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Yes,
Thank you, welcome.
That point. We are going to come to that point because it's important that you first began with quite an important story, your personal story, and we appreciate you for sharing with us, that. And we shall now first give you a minute to breathe, but also to listen to the other experiences. Then I think we can tackle the issue of rights. Thank you very much for that story. We value it and we appreciate it. Myleen, I'm seeing your hand. I would want to invite Shaban, and then I invite you. Is that okay with you? Or it's urgent, please?
Yes, it's
okay.
Yes,
it's
fine.
okay. I can wait.
Okay. So Jen, have you been able to connect? Jen, also what the okuteleza connection. Jen, bobo tuwulira weyanjule ate yes, otubulire erinnya lyo, then otubulire ne emboozi yo nga gwe omuntu alina obulemu. Okay, Shaban, twagala yitiremu nti gwe ng'omuntu alina obulemu, ekisooka bulemu bwa ngeri ki, ekyokubiri obulamu obusanga otya mu mbeera gy'olimu?
Yes, neyanziza amannya Boola Shaban Kalanga. Obulemu bwange ndi physical, nalemala ekigere ekya kkono, naye kyebaliza Katonda nti okuba omulema tekitegeeza nti seesobola. Okuba omulema nsobola okwetuusaako buli kyemba njagadde okwetuusaako. We mba natunuulidde ebyafaayo byange nga nzigyeko okwewaana, nze omuntu mami wange gye yaŋŋamba nti mwana wange nakuzaala otambula bulungi era watuuse ekiseera n'otambulako. Waweza emyaka 2 nange nalabira awo nga ofuna obukosefu. N'olwekyo tekyamalaamu maanyi. Mami wange ne dadi mbaagala nnyo, baasobola okuba nga banfaako ne bantwala ku ssomero. N'ensoma, kyamugisa mubi nti saamalayo olwamaliriza P7 sente ne zibabula, ne ngezaako okuba nga neerwanako ndabe nti at least nzirayo nsome, naye ne bigaana kubanga yali ntegeka ya Katonda. Ne tubeera nga tuli awo, ekyavaamu ne ŋŋenda mu ssenta ne ntunuulira bannange nga batunga engatto. Olwakimala nange nagenda nfuna experience, nabo ne batandika okunjagala ne bagamba nti jangu tandika okubako ku ngatto eno eddagala, okoleko kino otungeko obusiripa, so that nemba nga ntandika life yange y'okwebeesaawo. Saakomanga awo nga wenfunayo 10 kisobola okugula hafu y'akawunga nga ngisitula nga ntwalira mami nga bafumba nga tukola ki, nga tulya. Kale kati ssaawa eno wentuuse ndi musajja wa buvunaanyizibwa, nange neetongola, nina abaana 3, nsobola okuba nga mbalabirira. Okusinziira ku mulimu ogwo, obuzibu bwe tujja tufuna mu community nti abamu batusosola ne baba nga baseparatinga abaana, ne babeera nga babaawukanya, ne babeera kale nga babagamba nti nga kyakulabirako nga Ivan wagambye nti bayinza obuuza omuzadde nti olina abaana bameka, n'abagamba nti nina 7 n'omulemu 1, ne kiba nga kikkakanya ffe naddala abantu abaliko obulemu. Ne tubeera awo nga twetyamuko kale nti ffe tetuli paati ku famire eri, naye kya mukisa mulungi nti bazadde abange tebasobola kikozesa ate Katonda yatuwanga kyamagero ffe tuli baana babiri abaliko obulemu ndi nze n'omuwala omuwala ye mukulu ne wabaawo addako kwanza nze nenzirako. That's why ngamba nti abantu abaliko obulemu tutwale ekyokulabirako nti buli lw'obeera omuntu aliko obulemu beera kyafaayo eri abalala. Saawa eno nze nsobola okuyimirizaawo famire yange nensobola n'okulabirira abazadde abanzaala. Ekirala nti tufuna obuzibu naddala ku sayidi ya gundi development eziba zizze okugeza nga sente zino ezijja zi grants zigenda ne zijja ku ma sub counties ne baba nga bazireese nga zaffe. Kati ate ekyannaku omuntu atali mulema naaba nga ate yayagala benefiting mu sente ezo. Omulema Ministry of Gender sente ze yayisa nti zigenda mu bantu abaliko obulemu ne batazifuna. That's why kitukosa naye lwakuba nti tukyogerako kisobole okutuuka mu abo bekikwatako beetereeze kuba ffe tulina embeera eyaffe tetusobola kulwanagana n'abantu baliko amagulu abiri naye ffe tugamba nti ffe tuli balema permanent naye those abeeyita nti bo si balema bakasitoma anytime kubanga accidents has no formula. Kale tetugamba nti tukolima wabula engeri gye batera otutwalamu batuyise neeyisa etali ya buntu. Kale ebyo bibadde ebigambo byange bitonotono. Nja kusaba akazindaalo nkakomyewo eri mukama wange nze Boola Shaban Kalanga. Mwebale kuteekateeka programu eno.
Very much, Shaban, for that context and for sharing with us your story. Shaban has said that he is a person living with disabilities. Specifically, he has a physical impairment in one of his legs. And he just found, like when he was about 2 years of age, he found himself unable to move properly like other people because of that physical impairment with his leg. And as such, he has been like that since he was 2 years old. He went through education and was not able to go beyond the primary school level. He stopped in primary 7. He also says that after that, he got some skills training in a technical kind of institution where he was able to learn skills such as mending shoes. And that is what he does at this particular time. He mends and also makes, shoes. He does it, he supports his family, and he said he has 3 children. Did I get it right, Shaban? You have 3 children, not so? Shaban, no,
nina abaana basatu n'omukyala ali lubuto nate era ndi musawo yonna nnyinza okufuna owookuna.
All right. So Shaban, he has a family, has a wife. He also has 3 children and hopefully 1 on the way. So he said he's able to sustain his life through his skills he learned, and he's able to also take care of his kin. And from what Shaban has shared, indeed, it is true that children with disability have a higher dropout of school rate than the other children without any impairment. In fact, the World Bank has reported that children with disability are twice more likely to drop out of school. Of course, because of the environment not being enabling enough for them to continue. In many schools, children with disability have to move long journeys. And if they do not have a helper, an assistant, then it becomes a nightmare. In any case, if they also don't have tools that can help them learn better, it becomes quite cumbersome for them, but even for the parents to afford, for the parents to continue taking them through school. There still remains a big gap. And yet we should know that Uganda has about 16% of children living with disability. Those ones are school going. So that means that's a big number to ignore. I want to come to Jen so that she also shares her story with us. Jen, ogenda nawe kwenyonyolako otubulire mu bufunze olugendo lwo n'emboozi yo. Bw'eba gundi tejja kusoboka audio gyako, osobola okuggyako video n'oteekako test audio ne tukuulira obulungi. Okay. We commiserate with Jen for the network issues and the technical issues. I hope it gets better. Tunyolwa wamu nawe Jen olwa obuzibu ku ssimu oba ne network naye tukulaba nga tulaba nti tukuwuliza era naawe otuwuliza. I'll go back to you, Myleen. You had something you wanted to share before I ask another question. Myleen, over.
Mine was I was worried about time. How much time do we have so that maybe we don't talk so much and we address the issues, because they're the ones that are most important concerning our rights and what would love government to do for us, because we want to see life better. For sure, as an individual, I've tried the situations I've found in the past, in the hospitals, different government entities where we've been to for services. We have tried to change the attitudes of the people, but still the same things are being done, not only in Kampala, but all over the country. Yet the laws are in place, we know our rights, but the implementers themselves are ignorant of the law, and they make our lives impossible. So if we'd get right into the rights and then the recommendations, then we can add on the other things.
The rights, please.
Okay, thank you. Basically, we have human rights like everyone else. The only difference is we need an added advantage. Like, what am I talking about? If it's a hospital, we need it to have a ramp. We need it to have a sign language interpreter. And then at the entrance, is there anywhere that a blind person can touch and know that this is, I'm on floor this, I'm on the door written on this, or this is where the washrooms are? If I didn't have a guide and I needed a service, should I be stuck at home and die? If these things were put in place, then a blind person should be able to live independently like elsewhere in the world. 2, right to education. Sometimes we are given government sponsorship, but when you go to the schools where they send us to, right from primary to the university, the accessibility is terrible. The dormitory setting is the worst. The classes have steps. And then you ask yourselves, is this really what we deserve as people with disability? I remember in my days at campus, I would study from the window because the hall would be packed. We are over 200 students. And if I enter, then I can't come out to ease myself. So it was easier for me to sit and study from the window. You'll hear something, some you won't, but that's how it had to be. There was never any attention given to me. We were 2 of us in the class. There was never any attention given to us by the lecturers. For them, as long as they came and lectured, they go away. Then we came to the computer rooms. They were upstairs on 4th floor. Those who know MOBS, that building at the gate, that's where the computer classes were. So we'd never go there. And then when they organized for us a class where to be taught independently, the other students were like 2 weeks ahead. For us, we're just starting and we expected to do the same exams with them. So we were always left behind. Then at times you're going to do an exam, and then they change the room where you're going to do the exams. So you have to take some other 15 minutes to move on the raft, right? Then when you get to the paper, at times you've blacked out because it's disorganizing. So the environment itself that they send us to makes us fail, even when we are like the Baganda said, deco. So we would hardline and want to push on, but the environment was so unfriendly. I, for one, I'm not happy with the degree I got, much as I was on government sponsorship. It was too challenging for me. I was new with a disability. I had grown up all my life walking, and the accident comes, but I still have to move on. So me being given a government sponsorship and the environment they've sent me to is unfriendly, I could not maximize the opportunity. Then the other right is about right to make your own decisions, right to privacy, right to live your life as you want. Many of us, people want to decide for us what you will wear, what you will eat, where you should live, because you have a disability. It's not right. We have a right to make our own decisions. Then some of us, our parents say, you're lucky that man is, talking to you. Get married. So you're pressured to get married, not because you love the person, but because they are doing a favor. Some people think it's a favor. No, it's not. I have a right to choose my marriage partner and a person who will respect me, a person who will not be ashamed of me, a person who will work with me because I'm a human being. If you find me seated in a chair and there's no wheelchair, you will not know I have a disability. So before you look at the shape of my legs, the size of my arms, first of all, I'm a human being. So I have a right, like everyone else, to live my life in a normal way. Then the other right we have is right to services offered by government and private entities. In that, I'll bring out hotels, I'll bring out every public space you can talk of. Let it be a club, let it be a restaurant, let it whatever that is built for public. The law says it should be accessible to people with disability. 2006 Disability Act. Public transport, it should be accessible for all of us. Many times we go out to use taxis, and these people, some of them will tell you, we won't take you because you have a wheelchair, or some will just look at the wheelchair and drive away. Then we also have these buses they are making from here. They are not accessible. There's no space for people with disability. The chairs they put in are not friendly for us. They are slippery. They have no seat belts. So what inclusion are they talking about if they're saying they are including us, they are considering us? Someone once told me, nothing for us without us. If you want to make something for us, consult us, because some of us have traveled. We have the best ideas of what is convenient for all people with disabilities. I've been on a train before in Denmark, and when you enter in, there's a foldable seat so that you can draw your wheelchair close and apply a seat belt, and you travel as far as you want comfortably. Or if you want to move into a chair and you strap yourself and move comfortably. Then the other rights that we had always denied of, like when they've given out these grants, most times the able-bodied use our grants, or even the system itself tells us the money was not enough that was brought in. We have a right to be part of the development programs of government. We have a right to be employed like everyone else. I remember one time I applied for a job in internal affairs, and one of the guys who was receiving the papers just looked at me, and he just looked at me and he said, "What will you be able to do? Will you be able to just active at the board?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? Aren't there other desk issues I can handle?" So from the person where you submit to the interview, by the time you get to the interview, you're discouraged, you're looked down on. So it takes us having a hard heart, being hardcore, for us to be able to maneuver in these things. If you don't have a heart to stand all the embarrassments and all these things, we will always be left behind. Back to the rights to accessibility. We have a right to access to information. If you're giving out information or training on anything, where are the blind people covered? Where are the deaf covered? Most of the information about HIV is the blind can access, but the deaf cannot. They're always left behind on that. It is our right to have all this information and every other information passed on to us in the right way so that we are informed and we can live according to what information has been passed. So we call upon government, please do your part. The laws are in place. Implement these same laws. You won't hear us complain. When I was in mobs where I used to resign, there were steps on my doorstep. even as you enter Berlin. 3 years, I talked to the dean, I talked to whoever I thought was responsible. Please put a ramp. It was cheaper to put a wooden ramp, but nothing was ever done until I finished the 3 years. Even up to now, I've been following up and I've been complaining to them. You want to be an independent university, but you can't even fulfill the smallest requirements. So how will you be an independent university from Makerere, Maine, when you can't even do these small things? Then to the service providers, government service providers, please change your attitudes, especially the doctors and the nurses. Can you imagine someone asking you, who is that irresponsible man that has made you pregnant? I am someone's wife. I am entitled to be pregnant. I am entitled to have children. Why would you ask me such a question? If I have not been raped, I've consented, I am married, I have a right to have children. So why should you embarrass me? The beds are still not the standard we need. If we have a right to medical health, the beds that are in the hospitals are not the standards we need. We need a bed that is adjustable, that when I come with my wheelchair, you lower it, I climb, then you can adjust it back to the height and give me the service I go. Recently, starting from October to December, I was doing a survey in Kawempe division. You'll be surprised and shocked at the entrances of the clinics in the neighborhood. There was one particular one that had a trench in front. And if you saw that kind of ramp they put, it was a wooden one. Then after you've crossed that one, immediately there's a big step as high as my wheelchair. And then there's another one, then you enter the clinic. So I wondered if I came alone and I have an issue and I need to see the doctor, because while I was doing that survey, there are people living with HIV. And it's something you don't want everyone else to know. It's something that is supposed to be private between you and the doctor. So you imagine your helper brings you and they have to carry you into and then wait for you, then listen to all that you're discussing. You don't have privacy. It is inconveniencing. It is inhuman. It is humiliating. So I was asking KCCA if before they license anyone to offer us medical services, can you please assess the places where these clinics are being operated, being run? These medical service providers, can we check out where they're operating from? Actually, some of them were very dirty, and I asked myself, won't we get even sick when we come here for treatment? So our government is too reluctant, doing things that do not benefit us. You imagine our members of parliament earning all those millions, and we can't access even the cheapest drugs like Panadol in clinics. It is not fair. Let there be a balance, please. Let there be a balance. For them, when they need medical care, they can be taken abroad. How about us? We have a right to rehabilitation. If you go to Mulago, one person is attending 50 people. So you've come in the morning, you didn't take breakfast because you want to be in the queue early. By the time the medical person gets to you, they are tired. And they can only tell you, you stretch your legs, stretch your arms, and they go. You imagine I've traveled, I put in special hire money to come and do physiotherapy. And then you have only 5 minutes for me. It's not fair. Mulago as a referral hospital should be able to accommodate us. The scenario at the spinal unit is people are sent home before they even recover from the surgeries. If I would interest you in this, on a weekly basis, we have over 20 cases of new spinal injury cases. These are people disabled for life, and they're sent home without counseling, without any rehabilitation. So you imagine the number of dependents we'll be having in the next 5 years. Because as I speak, I know of around 460 people with spinal injuries only, before mentioning the other disabilities. Is government doing its part? If we were rehabilitated, some of us would be able to walk and participate positively to the society. So please, government, you know your role, you know the law, do your part, and you won't hear us complaining, and we shall be able to develop the country together. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that contribution. I mean, yes, indeed, government is mandated to put in place all these facilities that should enable people with disabilities fully participate in affairs of society, but also live like any other person freely. And it's sad when you mention for sure that even the new 2020 or 2021, 2022 buses that are being manufactured are essentially not disability friendly. You know, two-decker bus. If a person with person with disability, mainly a person who moves with a wheelchair, they can't. You know, it's just it doesn't have. There are still steps, you know, in that bus. Yet ideally, this is supposed to be modern. It's supposed to be ramp friendly, but it's not. So government has to wake up and look at each and every aspect of their services. They should be disability friendly. In this modern day and age, we shouldn't be having a university without ramps. We shouldn't be having libraries without ramps. We shouldn't be having halls of residences without ramps. Those places can be remodeled, even without breaking down, you know. Makerere University, in fact, has been mandated by court to put into place ramps, you know, and moved this under Makerere University. So failure to do that is disobeying actually the court order, you know. But also Uganda is party to these very many international instruments that call for the progressive, but also very intentional and fast realization of rights of people with disabilities. So it's important that that it is given primacy, because the number of people with disabilities is not small in this country. In any case, everyone is a candidate to a disability, you know. Many disabilities happen, you know, even without, no one ever calls upon a disability. So we need to prepare for ourselves, to prepare for the world, knowing that we can fall victim, but we also don't know what tomorrow brings. Ivan, I want to invite you to add on to what Myleen has been saying, give your own context of the rights of people with disability. How, in your own perspective, are you limited, and what can be done?
Thank you so much, sir. As my colleague has just said, that the rights of people with disability are well known. And when you look at, there is a document called the Person with Disability Act 2019, whereby even the president signed it. All these rights are well known. So it is now the government or our leaders to do their part so that we stop this issue of complaining every day. At least let them help us and they do their part. Why I say like that? The government has been so inactive on working on those rights or putting those rights in place. That's why it has even resulted into some abuses to the person with disability. And as I talk, we have a number of abuses like physical abuse, we have emotional abuse, we have abuse by neglect, and we also have sexual abuse. All these abuse, it has resulted because our rights are not put in place, even though they are there, but they are not in place. That's why if the government wants to help us, at least let them put these rights in place. Let them do their part. Let them do a favor to all persons with disabilities so that we stop all this cries. There is also a right, which my colleague has not said it. It is a right to own our things. Yes, we need that right to be in place because I've gotten a serious challenge as I talk. I struggled as an individual and I bought my small land, which was equivalent to 1 acre. But again, that land, the person who was using it was not the owner. So the owner sold that land to me after that person was defeated to get the money to pay that land. So me, after buying that land, it has now resulted into a war, me and the person who was using that land. So the person who was using that land, he's trying to take the money to the owner of the land, but they give me back my money and he takes the land, whereby the owner sold that land to me. We even made an agreement. All his sons signed, all his relatives signed, and even the LC1 was there. So this person, I don't know, over the way we look like, which I don't know, that I don't deserve that land. It is too big for me. I don't deserve it anyway. So I'm having that battle as I talk. This person is trying to go to the owner of the land to convince him that they give me back the money and they sell that land to him, which is impossible. Why I say that, I also not allow, because I sold what I sold to get that land. I never wanted the money, I wanted the land. So I've told the person who sold me that land, because now he's no longer the owner, I'm now the owner, to tell that man, if he wants that land, let him come to me, I sell him at any cost, I feel like. But these people, they are trying to squeeze me, that because I'm a person with disability, that the way I appear, the way I look like, that I don't deserve that land. So that is the battle I'm fighting right now. So I'm crying for the government to at least help us to put all these rights in place. If possible, they can even do some sensitization if people are not aware that, no, you people, these people, they also have rights like any other person, a right to own their things, a right to medication, a right to education, a right to enjoy family life like any other person. So sincerely speaking, we are left behind by our own government because we are just making noise continuously without them coming to help us. So my concern was let the government help us. They put all these things in place. They work on them. If it means sensitization to the radio stations all over the country, let it be made so that people are also aware that a person with a disability is equivalent to any person who is normal, and they deserve all what these normal persons deserve. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, indeed, we appreciate. I want to, before we close, I want to call upon Jen Obocha Sobolo okubaako ky'otugamba. Simanyi oba network ekyakutawaanyizaamuko. Katugenderaawo. Shaban, twagala kuwulira eri ggwe banno bonna boogedde nti bawaddeyo bye baluubirira, bye balowooza nti no birina okukyukamu naddala mu ddembe ly'abantu abalina obulemu. So oli tusaba naawe obeeko ky'otugamba mu sseeryo naddala ku bantu gavumenti kikyesobola okukola, ekisooka biki byolaba ebitateredde bulungi, naki gavumenti kyesobola okukola, oba naffe abantu kyetusobola okukola, abantu ba bulijjo kyetusobola okulaba nti obulamu bw'abantu abalina obulemu butumbulwa era bukyuka kwera obulungi ddala.
Once again tusiima abo bonna abalese ebirowoozo byonna tubeere nga tubikolerako, naye nga nze kyensinga okulaba ekisinga onyigiriza omuntu aliko obulemu mulimu naddala nga amasomero ge bazimba gano, bagenda ne bazimba mu butuufu n'olabira ddala nga essomero lya gavumenti, naye nga enzimba gye balizimbyemu tesobola kubanga omuntu aliko obulemu asobola okuyingira mu kiraasi naye n'akola ki, n'asoma. Naffe tusoma nga abantu abaliko obulemu era ne tufuna emirimu ez'enjawulo mu gavumenti. N'olwekyo guno omulanga gugenda eri bekikwatako naddala sekita y'education, bagenda ne balirizinga ssente ne zigenda ku ground ne zikola emirimu ze baagala, naye ne batafaayo kumanya nti amasomero ago galimuko abantu abaliko obulemu oba nedda. Ekirala nti tufuna okusoomoozebwa ku ssente za grants ezijja. Pointi eno kebeere noted n'abatuwuliriza nti ssente zigenda, gavumenti egenda nereleasinga ssente nti eno special grant for people with disability, naye zigenda okutuuka we tuli nga abali kuzirya woba batunuulidde teri afaanana bantu abaliko ki, obulemu. Kati buno obuvunaanyizibwa bugenda eri Minister of Gender, Oweekitiibwa Madamu Asamu ateekewo obukiiko obulondoola ssente ezo kituufu zituuka wansi eri ku gurawundi oba nedda. Fe bagenda ne batuwandiika amannya, zi groups ne ziba nnyingi ne zigenda ku ma sub counties ag'enjawulo, naye unfortunately nti ba CDO baafuuka babbi. Kubanga lwaki nkozesa ekigambo nti babbi? Balina embeera gye bassaawo okukalubiriza omuntu ono agenda okufuna ssente ziri, kwegamba ne bakuleetako obukwakulizo bungi, so nga ate zajja nti special grant for person with disability. Naye ate kikwewuunyisa nga bo abali mu gavumenti be bali kuzirya zigenda otuuka wansi wano ne musayininga ssente nti mufunye akakadde kamu ng'eguruupu naye nga mukutte emitwalo nga 3. Ate ne bamala bagamba nti temwogera nti naffe tuziriddeko, ne kiba nga kireetera abantu abaliko obulemu okukola ki, okukosebwa. Ekirala tufuna okukaluubirirwa naddala ku benefitinga still era mu government program. Kitukakatako naffe okwenyigira mu institutions ez'enjawulo, naye oyinza okutwalayo omuntu ng'ayina ebyetaagisa byonna mu institution yonna eya gavumenti, ne babeera nga bamuleka ne bamujerega ne bagamba nti gwe naawe omulemu n'asobola kukola ki, so ng'ate waaba yatudde mu ofiisi wali naye asobola okutambuza emirimu ezo nga ezikola ki, bwe zitambula. Kale n'olwekyo ne tuba nga kitumalamu amaanyi, naye ng'ate tulina obusobozi bwonna obukola ekyo ekyetaagisa. Kyova moto yaffe egamba nti disability is not inability, kubanga buli lw'olowooza nti gwe oyinza okukola ekintu omulema kyatasobola kukola, ate nga yayinza okukikola n'akusingako naawe. Kyakulabirako twalinga mu kiraasi ng'abaana bangi naye nga tuvuganya mukola exam ani asinga, ogenda okukola oti nga nze mbadde ate namba emu, ng'omuntu gye babadde basuubira nti yagenda okusinga tansinze. That's why kikyalenjinga abo abantu abaliko ki, abeeyita nti bo tebaliko obulemu. Kiraga nti omuntu aliko obulemu obwongo bubeera wamu, wasalawo nti akola kintu akikola na mutima gumu. That's why fe tugamba nti disability is not inability. This goes to all members of Uganda, kutwaliza wamu nti tuleke kwenyooma, tulabike eri abantu ate tubabuulire voice yaffe nga weeri nti kati saawa eno naffe tulina obwogerero. Our minister atufaako, naye tulina agabbi eno agali ebyaffe, bagezeeko birondoola. Ebyo bibadde ebigambo byange. Nze sigadde Boola Shaban, Kalanga.
Thank you very much, Shaban, for that contribution. Shaban has said that his major concern is the leakages in the support that is given to the persons with disability mainly under their fund, that money in essence does not reach the core beneficiaries on the ground. It is lost in corruption and in many leakages and kickbacks, name it. He is of the view that there should be more monitoring and more follow-up to see that that money indeed benefits the real beneficiaries. According to him, this money and these funds, these programs end up benefiting people who do not even have any form of disability, the who are already privileged, and more so the technocrats and the people they choose. So he's calling upon for a change in that approach. He appreciates government for putting in place, some efforts, but encourages more follow-up and more scrutiny and observance of the laws that and policies that have been formulated to ensure support for people with disability reaches the core people. He has also encouraged us and asked us as people, as citizens, as a general community to respect people with disability, to actually accord people with disability their dignity. We do not need to say we tolerate or accept. It's not our position to say we tolerate or accept. No, we should respect. We should respect people with disability because people with disability are part of community. And in any case, many times they also do some work better than we do. And they are in most cases able to do everything that we do, mainly when it comes to skills that require the mind. Many times people with disability are able to, but even skills, physical skills, name it, because many people with disability are actually just differently abled. And many times when their abilities are facilitated and enabled, they actually perform quite well. Myleen, you have something to say, please. The microphone is yours.
I just want to thank everyone for their contributions. Mine is a kind request to KCCA and Ministry of Works. You design these roads and you don't provide for us. More especially now that Clock Tower is still under construction. I hope and I pray that this platform will pass on this information. Please make provisions for us as people using that road, Entebbe Road. I remember I used to stay in Kaboa and I would cross to go to Salama, to my church. You imagine what my brother would do. He would carry me, put me in between those bars. I stand there, hold on to something. Then he has to carry the wheelchair to the other side of the road and then mag me into the wheelchair so that we can take the shortcut to Salama Road to church. When they were designing that road, I know the border guys are stubborn, but put laws and let them know it is not allowed to cross where it is not their provision. When you discipline some of them with a heavy punishment, they will stop misusing the road. Because we can't be forever inconvenienced because there are those who don't want to follow the law. If you put heavy punishments, they will learn and they will stop doing the wrong things. So when you're making these pavements, please make them friendly. Even the landing from the pavement to the road, please make it a safe landing. Put a small thing that can attach the road to the pavement so that we are able to independently move. My life is so expensive since I got the injury because all the time I have to move with a helper. There's a pavement that has no access. There are steps somewhere in the building. If I tell you how many buildings have come up from 2017 to now in the city center, just Kampala alone, when the the accessibility standards were already in place, you will not believe it. So I went to meet the engineer of KCC and I asked him, why are these buildings operating? Because he has the mandate to check the plans before the start, even during construction. And when the building is done, he has the mandate not to license it if they didn't follow the original plans. but how many are operating? So I'm calling upon each one of us, put yourself in our shoes. If you woke up tomorrow and you're not working, and your office is in one of those malls in town, and you didn't monitor it to have a ramp or a lift, I wonder how many times you would enjoy to be carried, mugged up the stairs and down. It is my responsibility, it is your responsibility to each one of us do our part so that our nation develops at equal ground and each one of us can effectively participate. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that. Jen, I saw you had unmuted. We want to give you this opportunity to say something before we end this show. Jen, nalabadde lulinga osobodde okuzindalo okuguteekako. Simanyi oba kikyasoboka. Bwe kiba kikyasoboka twandiyagadde okuwa omukisa n'oyogera oba si kyekyo tugenda kumaliriza. Shaban, obadde olina ky'oyagala okwongerako? Yes.
Kyennyongerako si kyamaanyi nnyo. Tulina obuzibu nti naffe tusobola okuba nga twagala okubankinga. Twesanga nga tutuuka wali batugamba nti ogenda kufula eri naye ng'ate tolina ngeri gy'otuukamu wali eri okubankinga zaffe. Kale ekyo mbadde njagala okwongerako.
Thank you very much.
Batwale obuvunaanyizibwa babeere nga balongoosa embeera eyo ne gavumenti olwedde okwekolako mu mateeka. Kale kyekyo kyokka ekyenjawulo kye mbadde nakyo. Mube bulungi.
Yes, Jen.
Yes. Kati nange kantandikirawo ku rights. Kati bwenda mu story oba ntandika omuntu aliko obulemu abonaabona mu nsi eno kubanga era ngedde nze Jeni nina abaana abazadde baffe bo nga bogezi nga bogedde discrimination abaana 5 ati n'omulemu omu akola omukaaga. Kati bwe tudda ku
we have lost Jen. I think Jen will be given another opportunity to contribute because the network is really good. Jen, webale nnyo ebirowoozo tulidde ne network ebadde tekusobozesa network si nnungi naye nga tuubira Center for Constitutional Governance ne Civic specific olw'okufuna omukisa omulala nga kyemukiteredde ne bakuwa omukisa okukomawo. Ivan, you may please say your final remarks in a minute, then we close.
Okay, thank you so much. The Center for Constitutional Governance, I want to thank you so much for the great job you are doing. Actually, temuli bepugira muli sanyuke nnyo lwakuba nti mufaako buli muntu era neyanza mwebala okukirawo eno platform wati naku twogereko ebintu ebitunyiga ng'abantu tomanya embeera eyinza okudda mu nteeko naye neyanziza mwebala okutwaniriza mwebala okuteekawo meeting eno neyanziza nnyo mwebale nnyo nganza Ivan sina kyensobola obawa oba okubasasula naye mbasabira just Katonda abawe kimusinga okwagala mwebale.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Ivan has been expressing gratitude to the conveners of this conversation and to you, the audience, for tuning in and always being part of this show. He has wished God's blessings upon all of us and to all you viewers. I thank you for honor. Please honor people, respect people. We are different and we shall always be different. Disability is not inability. Everyone deserves an equal chance to life, an equal chance to dignity, and all the other inalienable rights that come with the virtue of someone being a human being. I have been your host, Martin, and I wish you a lovely week. See you again soon.